Oh, all right. Back alive once again for another episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays. Apologize that we didn't have a show last week. We've had a lot of crazy stuff going on in the family and the house and the work. I got all kinds of art deadlines, and so sometimes I got to bump it. But we're back today. We're finally going to finish up the trilogy we discussed. If you haven't seen them previously, don't worry, you're not going to be confused or anything because I'll explain it all as we go. But first, let's do the important business. Don't forget, before you do anything with this episode and get into it, everything, please hit that subscribe button. The more subscribers you get, more content we get, the more things we got to give to you. We don't make money on this channel. This is strictly for the love of movies and the fun of doing this. So when they see our numbers, they give us free stuff. We give free stuff back to you. We got some contests on our website at hollywoodmatrimony.com, so you can check it out. And All-Con is coming up this weekend in Addison, Texas, right outside of Dallas. So if you can make it out there, we're going to be giving away some prizes all weekend. We got some drawings happening, different things to win, like full sets of stuff, like a full series, complete series of Gotham, complete series of Ultraman, and a complete series 4K season 2 of Westworld. So those are going to be available this weekend at All-Con for the drawing. So much more. And of course, they have all their fun stuff. I'm set up as an artist, not just as doing this stuff. So anyway, let's move on. If you've never seen this show before, first of all, shame on you. This is episode 31. You got 30 other episodes. You don't have to watch them in any specific order, except in cases like this, because it's kind of a continuation. But at the same time, doesn't matter if you see it. It's all good. The show is basically about my martial arts love and own personal journey as a martial artist. That's what I do full time. As I'm a martial arts instructor teaching Taekwondo and Muay Thai. And so what I do is I like to take a deep dive into my movie stuff here, grab an old martial arts flick. Sometimes we do new ones. Most of the time it's an older movie, and we talk about the movie itself, how it holds up, fun facts about the movie, and how it might have inspired my own martial arts journey at the beginning or currently. Excuse my cough. And again, I apologize for the missing head on the snow trooper. The helmet is laying over here, and it fell off a few weeks ago. I opted to not fix it because I might be wearing that this weekend, so I figured I'd fix it afterwards. All right. So a few weeks ago, we started on a trilogy of sorts. Not actually an ongoing trilogy. I compare it more like the trilogy of hold on. Excuse me. The trilogy of the canon Ninja trilogy from the 80s, which was Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, and Ninja 3: The Domination. None of them had anything to do with each other other than being about ninjas and starring Sho Kosugi. This is kind of a similar case. I'm going to try to get the guy's name wrong. Director Andrzej Bartkowiak, who is a cinematographer, but he's also directed a bunch of movies, martial arts movies. I believe he did Sudden Death as well. But we kicked the story off, our trilogy off with Romeo Must Die, starring Jet Li and Aaliyah, with a little small cameo from DMX and Anthony Anderson, and a slew of others. After Romeo Must Die, he made a second film, which was Exit Wounds. This time, instead of Jet Li, it starred Steven Seagal. But once again, DMX, who had a bigger role this time around. That time around. Anthony Anderson was back. Tom Arnold joined the cast, and a few other familiar faces. So it's more about the different people he's used and continued to use in a kind of a back-to-back series of movies that were all the kind of the same vibe, same genre, if you will, martial arts action. So the last one in that series, or seemingly in that series, is the latest. It is the 2003 Cradle to the Grave. This time, once again, bringing kind of both messages of both films together. We got Jet Li back again, and this time we got DMX again for another lead role. We also got Gabrielle Union. We got Tom Arnold and Anthony Anderson returning. But even more exciting, we had Mark Dacascos join the cast for this one, which already made me excited when this movie came out. So if you've never seen Cradle to the Grave, it's basically about, well, let's just read the synopsis. Let's do this instead of making it. So let's see. These whole things are so funny because the way they try to hype it up, so it's like the slam, the glam, the jam, Cradle to the Grave brings it. What the hell does that even mean? I'm assuming the slam is the fight, the jam is the DMX and the rap and the hip hop stuff, and the glam are the diamonds. I don't know. that are in this movie. It says fuse martial arts and the hips onto the other two. I say even this one. It says producer Joel Silver and director Andre Bartkowiak, who fused martial arts with hip hop style in Romeo Must Die and Exit Wounds, take it to the next level with Cradle to the Grave. Screen heroes Jet Li and DMX. I didn't know DMX was a screen hero, but whatever. Hit home and hit hard, starring as rivals turned partners in a volatile street war igniting by kidnapping stolen black diamonds and a sadistic crime lord played by Mark Dacascos. Forgot Kelly Hu is also in this. Kelly Hu and Gabrielle Union flex beauty and strength as foes destined for a clawdown. Really. And Anthony Anderson, Tom Arnold add comedy jams to all the excitement that's set to go and give it to you tunes by Eminem, DMX, and more. X going to give it to you, the DMX song, whatever the song is actually called. There's an Eminem song at the beginning in the opening, and then most of the rest of it's DMX and some other stuff. So anyway, that's what this is. Cradle to the Grave. It's an action, martial arts action flick. It's very, very similar. It's kind of an amalgam of Romeo Must Die and Exit Wounds. And then with a new kind of twist. They infused MMA fighters in here. You have Randy Couture, you have Tito Ortiz, you got Chuck Liddell. There's a whole underground fight sequence, so they have all these MMA fighters and Jet Li has to fight. I actually really dig this movie for all of its flaws. If you've seen the other two, you already know what you're getting. It's very similar in tone and style and execution and look and feel. It is, in fact, kind of blending that hip-hop culture, not just by having DMX in the movie, but with some of the characters and the music and things like this. Let me say this. I'm a huge DMX fan for the music. I thought it was cool back in the day when Exit Wounds and this came out, seeing DMX. I've seen some, other stuff he's been in, like Belly and things like that. The poor guy is not that great an actor. He's just DMX. I will give him credit in this movie. He tries. He tries a little harder as he's getting a little more meat. Having a daughter in this movie and having to rescue her and that kind of stuff. He does a fine job, but if there's a biggest issue, it's probably going to be more of his performance / the dialogue he's given, because there's a lot of lame one-liners, but that's par for the course in these kind of films anyway. This is probably Jet Li at one of his coolest, not only because it's at the time when we were still getting fresh Jet Li, not just the wushu Jet Li epics that we love, but we were getting, this movie, we were getting Unleashed, we were getting, oh my God, what is that other movie that he did with Bridget Fonda? I forgot. Anyway, we were getting Jet Li showing up in a lot of different movies, and he kind of had this cool vibe to him. And this one is probably the coolest I've ever seen Jet Li, because like when he shows up half the movie, if not majority of the movie, he fights with one arm. He's not missing an arm. He'll have it in his pocket or just hanging down, and he fights and just smacking people around with the one arm, throwing some cool kicks and doing his thing. There is the wire work here. Not as much as some of the other projects that Jet Li's a part of, but it's here. What I will give them credit for, I'm super tired apparently. What I will give them credit for is not trying to make DMX a martial arts star. He does some kicks and things like in Exit Wounds. They let him do like some hand plant kicks and things that were clearly wire work type things. Here, the closest thing like that is he does run up the side of a wall and does like a backflip. It jumps over kind of some. There's more parkour type stuff than really his martial arts. The rest of his fights are kind of sloppy and like real fights. It wasn't sloppy like in a bad way. It was two people that were fighting that just fought. So it's like if you really probably see DMX or two other people in a street fight just smacking the crap out of each other, that's kind of what the fights are, where the Jet Li's got the stylistic martial arts stuff happening. The same with Mark Dacascos. He's a great villain because he's really cool. And I was excited to see Mark Dacascos and Jet Li fight. That was my whole going thing. Anytime you get two big martial arts together, I'm in. You had Jet Li and Jackie Chan finally in that Forbidden Kingdom. You had Mark Dacascos taking on Keanu Reeves, even though I know Keanu Reeves is not a big martial arts actor known for that. His John Wick things just kind of changed that. So knowing John Wick, Keanu Reeves and Mark Dacascos were in a fight was awesome. Scott Adkins and Donnie Yen with Ip Man 4. Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung, and Mike Tyson with the other Ip Man films, Tony Jaa and Dave Bautista. Bringing all these people together and seeing them, triple threat, which I don't know if we've done one on this. I'm going to do that probably later, maybe next. Brings in Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, Tony Jaa, all these Iko Uwais, all these people fighting Tiger Chen, all fighting each other, which just made it that much more of an epic film. Anyway, but this one, it features some great fights. Obviously, my favorite fight of the whole movie is the showdown between Jet Li and Mark Dacascos at the end. It's got some wire work in it, but it's just a great, well put together fight. And what I found interesting, if I remember correctly, they did some kind of a poll or something on Jet Li's website at the time. They were trying to figure out who fans wanted to see him fight in his next movie. And I think Mark Dacascos won out. I don't know if that's the only reason he got cast. He was obviously had his own resume of doing stuff, but I think he won out. And so we got him in this movie. You kind of get a rehash of they're all playing different characters. Excuse me, crap. But Tom Arnold and Anthony Anderson have another after credits sequence or mid credit sequence where they're just taking jabs and riffing and making some funny jokes and stuff like this, same like they did in the end of Exit Wounds. It'd been funnier if they were playing the same characters, but you still get the same joke. They knew what they had. The director knew that and said, let's play up on that. Because Anthony Anderson isn't really comical through this movie, where Tom Arnold is. And then you put him at the end, and then they kind of get the riff and do their thing. Kelly Hu being here told me we were going to get obviously a good girl fight. My problem with the girl fights, and when you watch a movie like this, is Gabrielle Union's fine in the movie. She's her part's cool. She's a powerful, strong female character. She's also very sexy. She gets some fights. She gets to beat some ass, that kind of thing. She's just not as believable in the fight as somebody like a Kelly Hu. I don't know if Kelly Hu has actual martial arts experience, but she's done plenty of stuff. And Gabrielle Union, for me, was like kind of clunky with the fight, but she did fine. She did what she could. It was a film that Aaliyah was supposed to be in. I'm assuming she would have taken on the Gabrielle Union role before she died. But obviously, sadly, she did. So she didn't make it this film. This movie came out at a time where I was already teaching martial arts and was a fan and everything else. So it didn't have a lot of impact as far as my growth as a martial artist outside of just my love of it, of seeing people that I kind of had admired in cinema with Mark Dacascos and Jet Li. Mark Dacascos even more, because I would discover Mark Dacascos before I discovered Jet Li. And so I was a bigger fan of his. And after Lethal Weapon 4, or right before Lethal Weapon 4 came out, I saw Fist of Legend, and then had gone back cataloging to watch Jet Li movies, and then obviously obsessed with all of his American releases and been obsessed ever since. But getting to see Martin Dacascos again in a bigger screen adaptation of something, and taking on Jet Li, who I had discovered as at the time, was just insane. It further made me want to be better. Like that's what the newer movies did for me as a young martial artist coming up. They inspired me to do it. Things like Karate Kid and Bloodsport and Chuck Norris movies and things like this, Bruce Lee, those inspired me to want to be a martial arts, wanted me to learn, wanted me to train. By the time I got to black belt and beyond that, and started training in different styles and teaching my own classes, and it kind of became my life, these movies became more inspirations. I would watch things and they would inspire me to say, you know what, I can do that kick. And so I would start. There's a movie called The Shepherd with Scott Adkins and Jean-Claude Van Damme that we'll talk about on here at some point. And there's a kick in it that Scott Adkins does. And at the time, I didn't know who Scott Adkins was. I knew him. He was familiar, but he was like just another throwaway guy. I didn't really resonate with him yet. But he throws this kick that immediately I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. So I started practicing. That's what these movies do for me as a martial artist. They inspire me to train. They inspire me to be better. When I found myself injured or not able to train as often, you get lazy, you get fat, you put on weight, you get eating whatever you want, and that kind of thing. And that's what happened to me. I'm 45 years old, had a leg injury, couldn't train the way I used to, and then over time, I got happy just going to teach class and coming back home, vegging out, not hitting the gym, not doing this, having some pizza, having a hamburger, doing whatever I can do. And it was movies like this when I'd either go back and rewatch them or watch a new movie and see these people, not necessarily a new martial arts flick, but a new martial arts with these people. Like, I know we're not seeing Jet Li in a lot anymore, but like John Wick, seeing Mark Dacascos taking on Keanu Reeves in John Wick 3, him showing up in The Driver, and although he doesn't do a lot of fighting in that, just seeing him still doing his thing, still in shape, and then watching him on Instagram and Twitter and things like this, it then reminds you, like, look, get your butt up, get over there. Finally, after a lot of things hitting you in the head, makes you either make a decision. You're either going to step forward and be better, or you're going to have to reside of what you are and accept it, but also take responsibility for it. So for me, it made me step it up. And I was supposed to test this year for another degree and family things, and just inspirations of watching stuff. So now I'm meal prepping. I'm back to training every day, having to accept that I can't do things I did 20 years ago, but I found new ways of doing them. And that's what these movies for me. That's why this show exists, because these movies inspire me in one way or another, good or bad. The martial arts aspect of these inspire me. Jet Li inspires me. Mark Dacascos has been inspiring me since his first appearance in American Samurai, technically back to Angel Town, but I didn't know at the time. And so sometimes I do. I just grab these movies off the shelf. I rewatch them. So I started doing this show. I was doing that anyway. So I thought, why not pass that on to you guys? Maybe you'll find a movie you hadn't seen or one you haven't thought about in a long time. You revisit it, and maybe they'll inspire you like they inspire me. Whether it's to go write your own movie, make something, write a review, exercise, do something new, who knows, or just entertain you and make you happy. So anywho, Cradle of the Grave, it's a fun action flick. It's got all the humor, it's got the action. And hell, you got Jet Li, you got Mark Dacascos, you got some DMX for the rap fans, you got Anthony Anderson, who's hilarious, and Tom Arnold, who's hilarious. Just check it out. If you haven't seen any of the three, Romeo Must Die, X and Wounds, Cradle to the Grave, check them all out. They're all available now. They're all great. And most of them are in these old school clip cases we were talking about too, that somebody had posted about, and I think it was the director of Hobo with Shotgun. I don't remember. But anyway, they were posting about the snap cases. And so these are like, I don't know why these didn't take off more. They were kind of there for a while and they seem to have gone away now, the Blu-ray and stuff. But the case is actually attached as one piece. You got all your stuff here. It's cool imagery. But you just close it up, click it shut, it's ready to go. You're not like going crack, and have the paper inserts, and it's all one piece. The downside is they were a little bit bigger. So they stick out a little further from your collection. These things, sometimes when you put something else next to it, gets caught on it. But if you don't want to do that, put all your snaps together and you won't have that problem. Well, you will a little bit when you go, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, 2003's Cradle to the Grave. It's a great, fun action flick. I love it. I was really excited to revisit this little trilogy, and I hope you'll take some time to revisit it for yourself. That's going to be it for today. Please make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, for news, reviews, contests, and giveaways. We're currently giving away copies of Bombshell, Nezha, new animated Asian flick from Logo USA. We got some other stuff popping up soon. And with AllCon this weekend, like I said, we're giving away a 4K copy of Westworld, the complete second season. We got the DVDs full set of Gotham, and we got a Blu-ray set of Ultraman, all going to be given away this weekend at AllCon through a raffle. And I got a box sitting right over there behind the camera that's filled with Blu-rays, DVDs, digital codes for everything from random movies you've never heard of to Captain Marvel and Toy Story 4 and Maleficent and all kinds of things in there. It's a range from kids movies to big budget screen movies, whatever. And for those, all you got to do is show up to Superhero Sunday, and we'll give you a free ticket. Cost you nothing other than to get into the show and have yourself a good old time. If you want to come to the show, go to all-con.net, and you get all the information about tickets. Thursday, all day is free, so it's a free day if you don't like paying for stuff. It's an all-day free show. But I believe 3-day tickets or 4-day tickets, however you want to call them, I think are like $60 for the whole weekend. And they have stuff going 24/7. So please come check out the show if you're in town. They just want to have some fun. Their dealer room's a little bit different than a lot of other shows because they have a lot of wacky, weird stuff that's cool. They got game shows happening and contests and board games and dances and music performances and burlesque shows and bunny hutch things and whatever things happening. Things are happening 24/7 at that show, and we'll talk all about it on our show on Sunday. So be sure to join us. Hit our Twitter at Hollywood Matter, MATR, our Instagram at Hollywood Matrimony, and obviously our YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and help us out. Share it out. Tell your friends. Be sure to join us tomorrow for, hopefully we'll be back for an all new episode of TV Tuesdays with me and the missus, because I know we haven't had it, or we didn't have it last week as well. And be back Sunday for all new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, where we'll talk about Bloodshot, The Hunt, and all the shenanigans and wacky stuff that happens at AllCon every year. We'll bring it up and we'll go from there. Okay. Appreciate you. Don't forget to join me back here next Monday for another episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. I wouldn't tell you even if I did, because it's always a secret. But it's going to be something good, I promise you. So please join me. Above all else, be nice to one each other. Be happy. Always keep your hands up. And I thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And please have a wonderful day. Peace out, children.